Well, good morning again, everyone, and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. Today we continue the repairs, modifications, tweaks, whatever you want to call it, on Mullet to try to make it better for going down the racetrack. Seems like we did pretty well on the street ability of the car. Didn't really run hot except for the transmission cooler. But our repair on the transmission that you'll see in a little bit actually does something that's going to increase the cooling flow from the transmission itself. So the idea is that that improves the cooling, and really it was only for the stretch through the mountains that we had kind of a cooling issue. But what we are going to do first in the video is modify the rear control arm attachment points to lower, put some holes in here. You can see we actually loosened that up already, but we're going to add some holes in this area so that this bar can be lowered down a little bit. So if you look right now, which I'm not sure if you can quite see it, but that bar goes uphill. Well, this bar goes uphill at a more aggressive angle, but the idea is we're trying to get the upper bar to stay at least flat when the rear end separates like this. Because if you think about these bars, you know, when the car's at right height, obviously the lower bar is at a lesser angle, the upper bar is at a more aggressive angle. Well, where my fingers, if you drew an imaginary line from my fingers, that point, called the instant center point, so as these bars get closer and closer to parallel, well, that point ends up, that leverage point, fulcrum point, whatever you want to call it, ends up way out in front of the car, way out in front of the car. You can't see my hands because I'm behind the camera. Way out that way in front of the car. And the rear suspension loses the leverage on planting the tire into the ground. Now with these factory style cars, the really short upper bar swings a lot through just a very short amount of travel. So that upper bar angle is very critical to keeping the suspension planted. So follow along and we're gonna get to modifying some stuff, actually snatch the whole rear end out and make it easier to work back here. We already installed longer rear brake lines so that the rear end can separate more when we get the longer rear shocks on it. But we're gonna get to work, bring you guys along for the ride. All right, so I'll show you guys a little closer what we're doing here. Let's see if I can get this camera set up. All right, so you guys saw in the time lapse, Travis going in and cleaning all this up. So this is about 1/4 inch thick, and you can see where the upper holes were. There's this extra piece welded on for a doubler just to give it some extra strength. Well, especially because we're going to be getting even closer down here to this edge, we're going to make another doubler piece. That's the wrong template. All right, right template. So got that made just to fit like that. This fits a piece of 2-inch wide flat bar that we've got in stock already. So we're gonna trim that up, and then the 4 small holes there are gonna be bolt pattern. And what we're gonna do is drill small holes in the doubler and then use a machined spacer that'll slide in here. Well, should slide in here. It slides in. I promise I had it in a minute ago. So then we'll line that up with our pilot holes, and then the thought is it'll drill it straight through. And then obviously that hole is quite a bit smaller than those holes. So then we'll come back and drill this just a fuzz under 1/2 inch, and then we'll ream them to 1/2 inch, spritz some paint on it, and we should be good. All right, so some of you guys may not know, but I like cool tools, and I just bought me one that I think is pretty awesome. Not any kind of sponsored deal or anything, but this thing has been amazing, and I'm gonna show you how it works real quick. So this is an Evolution cold saw, and it's got a very mean looking carbide blade on it, and it cuts through metals like nobody's business. So I'll show you how this joker does real quick. All right, so I made myself a mark. Dang if I didn't get that within an 1/8 inch. Made myself a mark where I need to cut it for our doublers. I'm gonna make 4 of these. And then what I'm gonna do is weld them all together with a little tack weld. And then when I drill, well, first when I shape all the holes, they'll be the same. And then when I drill the hole pattern in the 2 of them, they will be welded together so that the hole patterns are identical. So right on the mark. So that's 1/8 inch thick steel. That's the side I just cut. It's not that hot. Pretty freaking awesome. So, one cut. Second one should be identical. Yup. All right, make the third one. 4 identical pieces. So I'll grind those up, tack weld them together, and start welding them in the car. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, like I said, was tack weld these all together. And actually what I'm gonna do is fuse them together across the corners. And what that will do is make it where all I gotta do is grind a little bit, and then I can kind of hit them at an angle and I'll be able to break them apart. So I'm gonna weld them all together and then machine, take it over to the mill and machine out that so that it fits where the other doubler is. And then we'll break it apart. So I'm gonna grind it off where it only breaks 2 of them off. At least I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then I will take and drill the bolt pattern in it. All right. Just a little fuse welding. So unlike the saw, now those suckers are hot. Ooh, that's hot. There, I'll touch up my hand. Not the most perfect thing in the world, but instead of a CNC, that's a KNC. Kevin numerically controlled. Yeah, dad joke for you. Oh, come on, laugh. That was funny. All right, well, I thought I'd show everybody what exactly we were trying to do here and how it has finished up. So there's our extra holes. The entire goal of all of this is when the rear end separates, the upper arm still has a little bit of downward angle. Worst case scenario, it goes flat. And then you think about the lower arm is going to be pointing further up. And the idea is that our intersect point still remains inside of the car instead of very far out in front of the car the way it was set up before. So kind of wrapping up my day here at the shop. Had some other irons in the fire, and you can kind of see it's dark outside now. Yeah, that's how it goes. But got the transmission put back together, and the thing I was talking about that we changed, we put a high flow TCI pump. I believe it's their Pro X pump and Pro X input shaft, which they rate, I believe, to 2,500 horsepower. Our old shaft, a lot of you ask why it broke. Well, that shaft was rated to about 1,500 horsepower. It's just what came with the transmission when we got it. And obviously we made more power than that, and it went bang. Race cars break. Like, some of you guys don't understand that. Even the best companies, the best race cars, the best parts, they all still break from time to time. I remember my dad lecturing me about that when I was a kid. He always insisted that I go get another vehicle before I started racing my everyday street car. I kind of listened. Right, Dad? Yeah, I kind of listened. Anyways, I'm headed home for the day. It's hot and sweaty even in here as late as it is right now. Tomorrow, the transmission is going back in, as well as I'm gonna bolt all of the rear end, control arms, shocks, anti-roll bar, all that stuff back in. I'll drop it on the scales again, just to make sure nothing's moved there. Get the bar angles and the right height set, or get the right height set to achieve the exact bar angles that I want. And then we're gonna go take it to the track again. Probably go ahead and I'll do a video, maybe not tomorrow, but this video should come out on Sunday. Probably have another video ready by Tuesday of us putting it back together, as well as fixing some of the other stuff that we've still got to fix on the car. But we've got something kind of big going on here next week that I probably can't show in detail, but I'll give you at least a little hint. Can I do? I'm not sure if I can do this or not. Yeah, y'all stay right there for just a second. Okay, yeah, you can see it. All right, it's gonna be a quick hint. You ready for it? Oh, okay, that's enough. Some of you may recognize that car. Some of you may not. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. I'll try to bring you guys some more Mullet content, as well as we've got a bunch of stuff done on the Chevy 2 that I just haven't videoed. I've been building exhaust manifolds for it. I actually found a pretty trick location for the turbo manifolds that I think is gonna surprise a few people. And no, they're not sticking out of the hood. No, didn't do that. But anyways, we'll do a video on that probably later this week. Anyways, thanks again for watching. See you guys in the next one.